This is Eagle Owl, and today I'll be talking about Jason Kelce calls out WIP. Also, Saquon Barkley is locked in. And lastly, it seemed like Devin White, he was a dud. But let's get straight into it. All right, so before we get straight into the topics, I want to talk about Nick Sirianni a little bit. And Nick Sirianni spoke with Tony Dungy, and he spoke about how the team will handle the blitz this year. And he said flat out, this team will be successful handling the blitz. But let me play this clip.
It seemed like just blitzing, trying to get the ball out of Jalen's hands as fast as they can. If people take that strategy against you this year, what are you telling Jalen? How are we going to respond to that?
Well, I think the important thing to understand is people will take that strategy against us this year. And we understand that. We know that because once you show something that a team has done well against you, you're going to keep seeing it. And I remember Frank Reich used to always say to me too about, and this is a parallel. I'm going to get to why this is a parallel, but he used to always say, hey, how are we protecting the edge this week against this great rusher? And, he'd be like, you talk, and I remember the first time, he'd be like, yeah, he hasn't had a sack in a couple weeks. He goes, that's exactly what used to happen in Indy. Freeney and Mathis would have a couple weeks where they would secure the edge. They wouldn't have a couple sacks, and then they forget about it, and then they'd come and they'd be ripping off the edge. And so it's like the same thing here. We're going to have success. We've worked so hard against this blitz. And we've put ourselves in position to be able to have success. But we have to understand what's going to happen is it's going to keep coming, right? It's going to keep coming. It's going to keep coming. It's going to keep coming. And we just got to keep doing the things we need to do to knock it, to knock it out. And sometimes that answer is different, right? The answer can't be
depending
the same.
on who you're playing.
Exactly.
Right?
It can't be the same every time, right? Because in this league, people find out your weaknesses and and your tendencies, and they'll attack them. And so the answer can be different. It can be, all the different things that to stop a blitz. I'm not going to, as you can see, I'm dancing around the question. I'm not going to put all our.
But
I hope so. Nick Sirianni. And he said he's not trying to give up anything, but the team worked so hard beating the blitz. And he's also aware that the blitz is going to come. So, hopefully Nick Sirianni is right. We know he's not the one really calling the shots. It's really Kellen Moore. So hopefully Kellen Moore, can really beat this blitz because it's going to come. It's Friday. That's all you're going to see, at least in the beginning of the game. But if the team start beating it, that team will have to adjust. And once you start adjusting, dropping back, making lighter boxes, you still have Saquon. So if we could beat this blitz, this team is going to be dominant. All right, so let's talk about the topics, or let's get straight into the topics. Let's talk about Jason Kelce. So Jason Kelce spoke on his podcast because there's this big thing, or WIP, of course, spun it. They spoke with Jalen Hurts, and Jalen Hurts was like calling his own protections, and he did mention Jason Kelce, like, yeah, Jason Kelce is great, and how he did his job far as like with the pass protection and, calling the protections, but Jalen Hurts said, his learning curve was halted because you got a Hall of Famer there, but the media spun it so much. And Jason Kelce finally came out and spoke about it. But let me play this clip.
Jalen Hurts on his thoughts on the first season, not on the receiving end of Jason snaps.
He's probably thankful for that.
His take was, we had a great player in Jason Kelce who took on a lot of responsibility. And as a result of that, I was told not to worry about a lot of things. My eagerness to learn over the years was kind of halted. But now times are different, which sounds like Jalen took his game to another level, man. You got to love that.
There's a lot of media in Philadelphia that are blowing this into like a negative assessment, like he's making an excuse or something like that. And I've shared this exact sentiment with Jalen. I think he's at the stage now in his career that he can take that next step forward, making a lot of these protection calls and things that I did for him early in his career when he's a young player. I think that a lot of the things we struggle with late in the year with the blitzes, when teams do a great job of disguising things and you really don't know where to direct it, the quarterback has to feel comfortable with where he's hot at. And I think that Jalen now controlling a lot of this and taking this ownership on is going to help, especially for situations like that. But I think him taking on this as a responsibility is going to accelerate his game across the board.
You can't take anything negative out of that. All you can take is that he's taken the next step. He's getting better. Don't take that as a negative thing. Pat Mahomes talks about how he couldn't even read a defense the first year he was in the league. I think that it's blown way out of proportion if you're looking at that as a negative thing. He's proven a lot of people wrong when they doubt him. That's for damn sure, man.
See, right? It's not a big deal. This is just another way for Jalen Hurts to grow his game. And at the end of the day, Jason Kelce is a Hall of Famer, a Hall of Famer. So I'm happy Jason Kelce came out and spoke about this because I could have possibly seen this going on and on and on until Friday. You know, that's when Jalen Hurts get to prove everybody wrong. So again, just another narrative trying to be spun about Jalen Hurts, about him having all this help and what can he do on his own. He's going to prove a lot of people Friday. I think he's going to prove a lot of people wrong, and he's going to start changing the conversation. So I'm happy Jason Kelce spoke about it because we was hearing one side what Jalen Hurts was saying. Now we heard Jason Kelce, and let's see how the media spin this one. They're going to spin it. Let's see how they spin this one. Let's talk about Saquon Barkley, man. So Saquon Barkley, it's a picture of him floating around, you know, studying the game, which, you know, every player studies the game, but he's getting his hair cut. He is getting his hair cut looking at the iPad, studying the game. So that lets you know he's locked in. He's ready to go. And his teammates said the same thing. Let me play this clip.
Saquon Barkley.
I'm just excited as them. I tell him all the time, he's superhuman. So excited to see the show.
The last 6 years, I got to see him twice a year, watch him do some of the most amazing things I've seen a running back do on the field. And just he fits so well into our offense, and I'm really glad he's here. He's going to be a lot of fun to play with.
I mean, he made a run at practice yesterday, and I just remember, like, I was wearing sunglasses. It was sunny out, just kind of taking my sunglasses off and looking at a couple coaches. I'm like, all right, this is awesome, you know, that we got him here, not only for the play that he brings to the field and the cut that he made yesterday at practice, but also his leadership and the person.
And Devontae just told us that everyone should look forward to seeing the Saquon show for real because just it's been so vanilla with what we've seen in preseason. How excited are you for that to really put out for this?
I'm looking forward to see the Devontae show, the AJ Brown show, Jalen Hurts show, Dallas Goedert show, all those guys.
Yes, we are all ready for the Saquon show. We are all ready. So the teammates are ready. Saquon, you know, getting haircuts. He is ready. I know that 10-hour flight, he probably watched film for like 8 hours. He probably did a whole shift of watching film. Probably going to go to the hotel and watch film. This is the positive I'm looking at with the Brazil thing. All these dudes got to stay in and, you know, do what they got to do and prepare for Friday. So they probably just going to be studying, talking to the coaches, things that they seen. So it gives them time to really lock in because, again, there's no family around. Maybe, you know, they call and check on their family, let them know they are safe, this and that. But after those phone calls, man, they probably gone to the iPads or whatever they got to do and working. Maybe some of them playing video games. They got to have a life too. But I think majority of the time, I think these dudes are going to be working, going over the game plan, what to do, with Jordan Love weaknesses. They probably going to go over stuff like that. So it's going to be a fun matchup. And I think our team is going to be ready. I really do. So, yeah, keep locking in. Definitely keep locking in. And let's, I guess, get into the last topic of the day. Let's talk about Devin White. Devin White was the big surprise. So the injury report came out. There was one guy that was out, Devin White, with an ankle injury. I'm starting to think this is a phantom injury, meaning that, you know, phantom injuries are saying, yeah, he's out, but he's technically not out. Because all these reports that are coming out now are crazy. Now, I will say this. When the person was giving me the notes about like the linebacker position, Devin White was always with the first team, and it was always him and Zack Baun. But there were a lot of times they were subbing out Devin White for Nakobe Dean. There'd be Nakobe Dean and Zack Baun. Now, you know, you start to pay attention to the little nuances like, okay, that's interesting. Then Vic Fangio would never answer who are the starters. He always mentioned Zack Baun, but that's really it. He never talked really highly of Devin White. I never heard it because remember, even during his first press conference, nobody even asked him about Zack Baun, but he mentioned Zack Baun. So he wanted Zack Baun there. And I would give Zack Baun credit for this. Because I usually don't give him a lot of credit. And I don't want him thinking I'm hating on him or anybody else. He covers really well. He covers really, really well. Now, he might not be that downhill runner, go get the running backs, this and that. But when you ask him to cover and drop back, he does that really good. He might be the best covered linebacker we have. Him and Ben Van Sumeren. And that's even according to like Andrew DeSecco and like Anthony DeBona and stuff like that. Like reporters saying like, yeah, Ben Van Sumeren, Zack Baun might be the best covers, but you look at Nakobe Dean and Devin White, more blitzers, downhill runners. But this is not good news for Devin White. It's not, because he came here to change the narrative. He came here to show like he can play at a high level. And so far, man, not good. Not good at all. Because when I seen the slash between him and Nakobe Dean, I'm like, well, maybe it's Devin White, but they're going to split time. But now they saying Nakobe Dean flat out won. He flat out won. And there were even reports, according to Albert Breer, that they were going to trade him. And this is exactly what Albert Breer put out. There were murmurs that the Eagles could trade Devin White before the cut down. Zack Baun and Nakobe Dean were really good in camp. So fair or not, White missing the opener won't help his case for a big role in the defense. So either way, Devin White was cooked. He was cooked. Because everybody, even people in my comments, like I think like 2 videos or 3 videos ago, were saying like, there's no way Nakobe Dean beat out Devin White. And he did. He did. I said that. I'm like, yo, I really wouldn't be surprised. But for it to actually happen, it's like, wow, he really beat him out. So while, again, this is great news for Nakobe Dean, this is bad. This is bad for Devin White. Now you look at a guy like Devin White, like, he might just be a career backup, because even if he leave us, he's going to go to another team, be a backup. Then another team probably be a backup. Maybe he catch a break somewhere. But so far, man, a lot of teams are, well, not a lot. 2 teams said, like, bro, you ain't it. Buccaneers benched him. We saying Nakobe Dean beat him out. This is not good. Not good for Devin White at all. And like Jeff McClain was saying, like, yeah, it's really no surprise. And John McMullen, everybody's saying it's no surprise. And that's why I hate that it's not really open practice for the public to, get their opinion. And we got to listen to the reporters. And there was stuff like this come out. They already knew, but we as fans, we didn't. We just going by the notes. I'm going by what people send me. And again, a lot of people's hitting me up saying like, yo, I'm hearing good things, but Devin White is not standing out. I'm like, that's interesting. And then when I seen like stuff like he make a play, I report on it. But there wasn't no practice where he had like, wow, he stood out. Nope. Van Sumeren had those. I think Zack Baun had one of those, and Nakobe Dean. Even Trotter Jr. had one, like he looked really good. Devin White, average. And this might be it for Devin White. Now his career is over. He's going to be able to play somewhere, but that big contract talk, 26, because years go on. It's going to be 27, 28, 29. That's it. He's just going to probably be a career backup, and it probably was a dud. How we played the safe. Gave him a cheap deal, see what he got. Tried to trade him because, Howie Roseman knew he wasn't going to be a starter. Tried to get him somewhere where as though he can start. It just didn't happen. So he's a dud so far. A dud. But hey, man, what do you think? How do you feel about the news today? This is a while, man. That Devin White thing kind of shocked me. Even though I had a feeling, but it's still shocking for the confirmation. Like, wow. Jason Kelce clearing up a couple things. And the Saquon show, oh, yeah. Tomorrow, man. Tomorrow we get a show. But hope we enjoy the game tonight. Ravens, Kansas City. It's going to be a good one. But this is Eagle Owl, man. I'm up.